Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome.
How are you doing today?
So awesome. So amazing. So good. Waiting for my meds to kick in. The sun has gone away. Is your sun gone still?
No, it's out.
Oh,
You see it?
nice.
Look.
Oh, okay. Okay. Rub it in. Rub it in.
But while we were having lunch, it was gone. And I couldn't go outside to get my sunshine.
yeah, it just feels like we're outside in, it's not a blizzard, but it does feel like a whiteout.
Yeah, it's just cloudy. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Bright and cloudy.
Yeah.
So, welcome to a brand new episode of But Am I Wrong? Starring two people who have not once ever been wrong. And there are 3 different segments on the show. We will explain each one of them before we get into it. You don't have to worry. You're not going to be lost. I promise you. We ease you in slowly. But what you do need to know is that we want your participation. So there's participation in one of our segments. And there's also participation in voting for who you think was wrong in everything we discussed in that episode. And then writing in why you think that they're wrong, why you voted the way you did, why you don't think they're wrong. And you do all of that on our Instagram stories that we post with the little polls. And you say, wrong, not wrong. And then we read all of the results along with your thoughts and feelings on our See You Next Tuesday episodes.
And we have a special treat next week, which will be a special for the spooky season. It is a special episode of But Am I Watching? If you're new here, But Am I Watching is when we take the same format of But Am I Wrong, but apply it to a movie, a TV show, something that we just want to talk about. And we ran a poll on our Patreon and to see like which holiday films y'all would like us to do. Holiday as in Halloween holiday.
Not the ho ho ho. The
Yes. Boo.
Exactly.
And Twitches came into the #1 spot.
No. It's not called Twitches, Melissa. What did we learn?
I don't even remember. I thought about saying it, but I know there's
Coventry.
Coventry,
Witches?
the Witches of Coventry. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
As its government name on IMDb, but nowhere else, and no type of explanation that I could find. If you can find a explanation of why this movie has been changed to this, please let me know. But I spent a good chunk of yesterday. My day was one. I had only allotted for 1 hour for us to move all our stuff over to the new platform we're in. Took me about 4 hours. Didn't allow a lot for enough time. 4 hours. I got it done. Whatever. And then another hour or so, I was trying to figure out why the name of this has been changed, and couldn't come up with anything.
Well, I did Google. I'm trying to like find if like something SEO wise, like it's leading to something else or like something could be problematic. I guess one of the things says, what does it mean when you get twitches? And then it talks about muscle twitches. And I didn't even realize they were spelled the same. So like, I don't know if it's like that thing, but like,
but if that's the case, then why isn't it changed on Disney Plus? That would be the most critical platform.
Yeah. I like the idea that it's just that author who's trying to increase her visibility, Sarah Bourgeoisie. And because look, now I know her name, and it fucking worked. But also, I wonder if it was like the working title, like while they were in production.
But it changed recently because the clips are still labeled as Twitches.
Yeah, like if it was like I don't know, like an anniversary, something like, I don't know, or like someone like did it to like troll or whatever, but like, or it's like a fluke that it used to be marked as that. And like, for some reason, IMDb is like the only one that has any like manual switching over versus automation. But yeah, I don't know.
So let us know if you know. But otherwise, watch the movie and give your current hot takes, not nostalgic hot takes, current hot takes. We need to know by Wednesday would be great. Wednesday end of day, but we'll take them up to Thursday. It's available on Disney Plus.
So this is a podcast where we tell other people when they're wrong. We talk about when we're wrong. We talk about celebrities, pop culture. You are in for a treat. And our very first segment is called But Am I Wrong? And this is where we pitch to the other either a hot take, a rant, a lukewarm take, something we need to get off our chest, or it could also be a situation that we found ourselves in that we want to know if we're in the wrong about.
Okay, mine is a rant or a hot take. Actually, I'll say it's a hot take. It's a hot take. And it's that Ariana Grande might be the greatest actress of our generation.
You know?
So I've only seen, and I just want to be honest, I've only seen her act in 3 things.
Oh my God, I forgot. Continue.
One of them being Scream Queen. Mm-hmm. One of them being Saturday Night Live. And the other being, guess.
Bitch, I know.
Just say it.
Who did it? Fox Live presents Hairspray the musical live. Yes. Her favorite fucking movie. As soon as you said that,
this
you were like,
my favorite.
No, but as soon as Grease is your favorite.
Yes.
But as soon as you said, I've only seen her in 3 things, I immediately went, oh God, that bitch was in one of those lives. She was in one of those live musicals that you loved.
Yes. And I haven't seen her in Cat Sam. Is that the name of the show?
Sam and Cat. That was the spinoff of Victorious. That's even more niche.
So which one is she on? Both of them? Or
She's
neither?
on both, but Victorious is the big one. Sam and Cat only went for like a season or 2.
Okay. Obviously, I know nothing about either one of those shows. Yeah. Never seen them. Why would I? I was an adult when it came out, and I didn't have children. So I said didn't, as if I do now.
You know, she still doesn't have those. As far as she knows, if you know something different, contact me, not her. I don't want you to be shell-shocked. I got to filter that.
I'm okay. Okay. So I thought Scream Queen, she did a great job for what she had. When I watched Scream Queens, I didn't know much about her except for that she was a singer. And it just seemed like she might be playing a version of herself. Again, I didn't know anything about her. So that seemed like a personality hire type role because she was barely there and she's a big name. And they were advertising her as if she was the lead of the show. They gave us a Drew Barrymore-like effect. And then I saw Hairspray Live and I thought, wonderful actress, great singer. I'll come back to that after. But then she's been on SNL and the range that this girl has, the commitment she has, because with SNL, the skits are hit or miss. It's just a big stage for improv kids and sketch writing kids to do their thing. I'm usually there just for the person that is hosting. If it's somebody I don't know, I don't watch it, but I've recently become a big fan of her singing. I like the music that Victoria Monet has been writing for her. I think it's great. Enjoy it a lot. And so I was like, let me watch. And every single sketch she was in was a hit. Not because it was necessarily funny, but because she committed to it. I believe the character that she was doing. Every single one was different. It wasn't the same. She wasn't playing herself. The versatility, the acting, the commitment. She changed up her voice for pretty much each one of them. She even sang badly, which we know is not something that she does.
It's hard to do when you can sing well.
The Celine Dion, spot on. If you haven't seen the actual Celine Dion football commercial that they're imitating with the fighting people, please do, because it was genius. That dumb one about the people getting murdered in the house, best friend's house.
First of all, great song.
Great song. The one where she was being the mom and they were playing Pictionary, I think. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing a game and her and Bowen were getting into an argument. That was the accent she was doing. Again, the commitment, phenomenal. And then the castrating one, the dead look that she had in her eyes the whole time was perfect for the character.
Did you watch on her TikTok? She was doing she was putting on lip gloss as she's in this whole role. Yes. I want you to look up right now, Ariana Grande mother. I just want you to see what her mom looks like.
I already know what she looks like.
Oh, okay. So you do know that the sketch with Bowen, she's playing her mom.
Yeah.
Spot on.
It
and
was
apparently
great.
Alleged she's the one who pitched that one.
Love it. That means that she also has good writing. Bowen also finds any way to kiss a woman whenever there's a woman on the show. So
this is the other part, though. I do think all of those women made sure that all they wanted to do in SNL was kiss Bowen Yang. I don't know that. I think they want it as much. I think they're I saw you kiss one girl. What do you mean? And now you're not going to kiss me?
Well, they're aware of it because they had that whole sketch with Sydney Sweeney where he was like, "I'm actually straight." Everybody's like, "He's actually straight. He just pretends to be gay for the comedic timing of it." And now they're just leaning into it.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if I was hosting SNL and of all the sketches, there's not one where Bowen Yang kissed me, I would be like, "That's actually super offensive. Mm-hmm. We have to kiss."
Yeah,
I'd be really hurt.
Yeah. I was upset there wasn't a lot of Marcelo in the episode, and I think he is, of the newcomers, the most talented, and he's very cute. And I could see him auditioning for being her. Thank you. Next person on her list. But
I know. I'm like, Ariana, dump SpongeBob, Marcelo.
Yeah.
And he's also petite, and she's currently into that, is a petite man. But him playing Domingo.
She's also very petite.
That's what I'm saying. But she went from Pete Davidson to SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's half the size of Pete Davidson.
Right.
So it's not like she's only 6 or above at this point, but he's the Domingo. I'm addicted to Marcel Anthony. I am addicted to that young man.
Anything I see him in, so funny.
When he played a frozen embryo, Melissa, I had to run to the bathroom because I was holding my crotch like a child about to piss my pants. I was I had to pause it. It was still playing on my phone. My phone's on the floor. I'm leaning over the toilet. I literally was going to pee myself. He's so fucking funny. And nothing I love more than someone who is half breaking the whole time that they're doing it because they're smile. So funny.
But staying in character.
Exactly.
But her comedic timing was great. She's really funny. She also can do the serious stuff too because, a lot of comedy is staying serious while you're playing the straight man against the other person. So she needs to be in more things. And I think that she could probably, if she committed next year to acting, she could EGOT next year. And let's do it. And I also, I have no respect for this at all, but I just want to talk about how, let's take Hairspray, for example. There's a line that Seaweed sings. I think that's his name. And he says, basically, I can't believe that I'm falling for a girl that has this white skin, while Ariana was very much in her brown face. She has morphed into so many different ethnicities: black, white, brown, Asian. Like she's done it all, which is a testament to her acting abilities, because she really commits when she does that too.
Again, the way she holds her face, the accent,
the way she talks, the way she moves, a commitment. So, like, do I stand by that? No. Do I think she's doing some type of character study that is beyond me? Perhaps. Is it cultural appropriation? 100%. I think like we should be putting more respect on her name as an actor. And maybe when this Wicked comes out, then more people will see her that way, if that's what she wants. But it made me want to see it a little bit for the first time. I have not wanted to see this film at all. But maybe I will see it.
I was a hater when I saw the first AI trailer drop where everything was CGI. Mm-hmm. And then it's like they heard my call. And then the next trailer they also dropped with like a featurette of being like, oh, 90% of like what you're seeing that is like so big is all practical effects. This train weighs all these tons. And I said, so sorry, John, for doubting your vision.
I do love John.
Me too.
True. John M?
John, is there an M in the middle?
I think he has an M.
Oh my God. So happy for him. Join the M's. First of all, he also did one of my favorite films, Now You See Me Too. And I was like, I'm so sorry. If I had known that, I never would have doubted you and your vision. So I'm like so fucking excited to see. I think I've watched everything out yet, like so far about them, like about any interviews and all that stuff. So like, I'm so excited. So have you seen any of Ariana's impressions prior to this?
Yes, I've seen her when she's with Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, yeah. So I was telling Mott's because Mott's and I watched together and he was like, wait, she's like, this is so funny. And I was like, oh no, her bread and butter is impersonations. And I was saying, I would watch out for this if I were you. But over Halloween, her and Liz Gillies, who she was on Broadway with together, and then they did Victorious together, they usually pick every year for Halloween a very niche like movie or TV reference. And then they do an entire shoot, high budget, and they recreate usually 1 to 3 scenes, totaling about maybe 20 minutes, recreating it shot for shot, both of them acting out these other roles. And it's like it's so theater kid. It is such a fucking commitment. And like neither one of them are like choosing to be like, I want to be the hot girl. They're like, no. I would like to be this or whatever it is. And like, so yeah, she's incredible at impressions. And I think even her old stuff she's done on SNL, but like my like ranking of like the best male on SNL for me is Ryan Gosling. Like I think he's like so funny and ridiculous on SNL, and like everything he does, even if the sketch isn't so great, I like still really, really like. I've always really liked Emma Stone because she also like really fucking commits. Yeah. And she won't break. Because you saw her when the La La Land, they said, actually, this is not your... there was no laughing. Everybody else was laughing uncomfortably. She was straight face. She will commit. And that, I think, especially with like the Julio Torres stuff, like really commits to his really ridiculous bits. And then Ariana, because the impressions she does are so fantastic that like it is SNL level. Like if she wanted to audition for SNL, she so could. And
she
the
would
fact
run
that
SNL
100%. And also the fact that like her musical theater voice and singing voice is so different than like the music she produces and like the pop star image. She has such a pop star kind of image. Same thing, like I think of like a Sabrina Carpenter or a Chappell Roan, where it's like you see them in there like on their off days or whatever. Like you'll have their like paparazzi walks or whatever, but like it's so different. So like she really, really transforms. And I do think too, she was definitely, and I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure she was more of like a character actor, not in like a adult kind of way, in like a teenage kid kind of way, where you're not playing like the lead main Zoe 101, who's like kind of boring and whatever. So like she's always she hasn't played, that wasn't like what she came up as, is like the star hot girl kind of boring role. It was always like the more interesting, weirder ones. And I think even now you think of like a pop star as like the Zoe 101, as like the center of this whole thing. And she's like, I don't want to do that. That's not fun. I want to do this one instead. And I just commend it, because I think that like if it's true that she pitched that sketch about her mom, that's like actually so funny. And like, you know, that's going to be so funny. The UFC one killed me. And also I kept telling Mom, I was like, Celine Dion, I think, is one of the hardest impressions to do.
Yeah.
Because it's a physical part. It's how she talks to her. First of all, the accent is hard in itself.
The accent is hard because yes, she is French Canadian, but it sounds like she's also speaking Spanish with it too.
Well, I'm going to be real. French Canadian, that Quebecois, that is a tough language. And I say that with love because I don't know any French Canadians who are like, yeah, no, it's beautiful and seamless and gorgeous. Like, it's a tough language. Mm-hmm. So it's a really fucking hard accent to nail distinctly. Like, I kind of think same way in like a South African accent. People are like, oh, is that British? Is that Australian? Like, it's so hard to nail it, to know exactly the physicality. And then also like Celine's
facial expressions.
Like, it's her personality. It's like doing Cher if Cher also had an accent. Yeah. And like, it's just so fucking impressive. And like, she nailed it. And Mats and I have watched that no less than about 10 times. And the bloopers of it, like she so commits, and I like love that. And that's also how you know she's been like talented for her whole life. Like since she was a kid, there's like no inhibitions there. And like usually, even if you are like a successful actor and you've been working and like you've gotten to the point where you've made it to guest host SNL, it will like have everybody shaking their boots, regardless if they've done theater, like whatever that is. But like, because you will have that little voice in your head. But when you have been like a fucking star and so talented because she was on, I think she was on Broadway at like 13 years old. She was in 13, but I think she might have been around 12 or 13. When you've been that good for that long, you don't know anything else.
Yeah.
And like, that's impressive. And like, that's something that like, that's just genetics and luck. Like, it's just a God-given talent. And that is phenomenal. So I agree wholeheartedly. I've just been singing. She's dancing up on Domingo. Like, I've been singing clips of it nonstop. Mats and I have been calling each other Domingo. He's like, I love you. And I go, or Domingo. And he's like, nope, love you. And I'm like, perfect. Like, I just can't. It's just so fucking funny. And she was a star. She like in all of them. And I think she did more sketches than most of the hosts usually do.
And she was also off book for most of it too. She wasn't reading cue cards. The one that was in black and white, I think she was reading cue cards, but the other ones, pretty much off book.
Yeah. And I was also curious because famously, she can't see. She is very, very blind. She cannot see. And she also doesn't wear contacts. So if you see her on any Jimmy Fallon and they go, oh, impressions, she just leans forward and squinting. And so I was like, I was wondering, I'm like, is everything just going to be like a really close-up shot? And I was like, oh, bitch is off book for most of this because she doesn't, unless she got contacts, I don't think she has much of an option. No. But like, what a phenomenal performance.
Like, if she doesn't get an Emmy for this, I don't know.
Can you get one for a
guest star on comedic series? Yeah, because Maya Rudolph has gotten it as
true political commentating aspects, right?
Yeah, it's all in the same category. Yeah.
Okay, well,
and I think she'll get it again this year too, or next year.
Yeah, I don't know why for some reason I thought they were only allowed to nominate to political. That makes no sense to me.
But let's get it.
Phenomenal. I think it's great. And also, we now know too, she can do both because she released Eternal Sunshine, which is a phenomenal album, while she was still doing her theater mode. Yeah. So let's go to the theater.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we get back, Meghan will share her But Am I Wrong?
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
We're back, and it is time for my hot take. And this actually isn't my hot take. This is somebody else's hot take that very rarely do I stumble upon someone saying one sentence. I pause the video. I go, I actually think I agree completely. I think of who I'm thinking of, and I open the comments, and the top comment is someone listing the thing that's in the top of my noggin in my brain. And I'll explain what that is.
Okay.
So Fagan, Chelsea on TikTok, who's Chelsea Fagan. We literally spent like 2 minutes just making sure that's her name. She does like the financial diet, is also big on TikTok. She made a TikTok basically saying like, so I know this is technically discrimination, but I think there are some jobs that if you are too hot, you shouldn't have them. Like it's just too much. And she said she's scrolling how she came across this is she was scrolling on her TikTok, and she comes across the most beautiful man she's ever seen before. Like she's like, he was so stunningly gorgeous. And she realizes that this is a video about therapy because this man is a therapist. And she said, oh no, there's literally no way. And she was like, so she goes, I know this is discrimination, but like, I don't need my doctor. I can't have you be hot. I have to be honest with you. My therapist, I have to be honest with you. I can't have you be like absolutely gorgeous. And immediately I paused and I said, Dr. Darian. That's who I thought of immediately. The top comment, you also know who Dr. Darian is. We've sent him back and forth and we've said, he's so stunning. I'm holding him up.
Oh, yeah. But he's gay, so.
No, and so that was the other part. Because I almost followed it up with, yeah, I agree with everything she says. If you're too hot to have a certain job, unless you tell me that you're gay. And now suddenly, not only am I discriminating someone from being too hot, I'm also asking them to out themselves at work. And then I said, you know what, Megan? Too far. But boy, oh boy, if I had a hot, like this whole thing too, especially with like.
You do have a hot doctor.
Melissa, and therein lies how I know this is a problem. Bitch, I have personal experience with this. I said, unfortunately, and here's my other thing. I have not had a male doctor like as a part of my care team who isn't gay in a while. So I got comfortable. I got too comfortable. I got too confident. And this gorgeous man walks through the door and I compliment him on his outfit. And as soon as he says thank you, I realize this man is not gay. And then from there, our problems ensue. From there, we're just talking about how funny I am and all this. And it took me so long to get my beta blockers because he was like, you're fine, girl. And I was like, okay, it's a little casual for me. And that is the whole thing, that it just becomes like you forget everything you're trying to say before you get in the room. And you're like, this is so stressful. And now my care is within your hands. And like, anytime I have to like ask him for something, like I feel like an idiot. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like, okay, whatever. And he's, thankfully he made me mad at him. So I was able to like look at him as like less hot, but like objectively, this is an attractive man who works in a medical practice. He dresses nicely to his work. And I'm like, you're supposed to make sure my heart is healthy? Sir, you're putting all of this into question. And it gets to a certain point where if you are so hot, it impedes on, I'm not saying that you can't do your job. I'm just saying I might not be that honest with you. I might just gloss over those things and just be like, ha, ha, or whatever that is. But it was kind of full circle, because when I was reading those comments, the amount of people who are like, wait, I can't, like, who were responding to the comment about being like, Dr. Darian, the way that this man would have to tell me he's gay the moment he walks through the door, or I'm fucking leaving. And people were like, wait, he doesn't do it at all for me. Like, I would be totally fine. And I'm like, I guess this is why beauty is subjective. Do I fundamentally disagree that anyone could ever find this man like he's just a man? I don't understand that reality whatsoever. But I guess because beauty is subjective, that's, some people could see a random white man with Travis Kelce's current Mr. Bean haircut.
Why do you keep bringing this man
Melissa,
up?
because this is how I've learned we all have different tastes. Someone could be there with his Mr. Bean haircut, in his Hawaiian shirt and his puka shell necklace, and they could go, boy, oh boy, slam my clam. It might be that. And if I saw that, I would go, we're fine.
I agree to an extent, because I have the opposite effect on
oh my
that.
God, Melissa, you don't want ugly people?
No. It's not that. It's that when I have somebody that's hot,
you want to impress them.
I want to impress them.
And that is why workout instructors should always be hot.
My trainer is hot. My doctor, that is my primary physician, he is I wouldn't say he's hot, but he is attractive.
Yep.
And like when I go in, and he's also very kind, and he listens to me, like very much listens, and does
very rare. Trifecta.
Right. I know. And like takes his time. He's a great doctor.
Whoa,
I know.
Okay, rub it in. I like my primary care.
But I like want to be better. So like when he tells me to do something, I do it. So it has the opposite effect on me. So I am in the camp of the hotter, the better for me.
What if it was a therapist?
Well, I don't go to men for therapy.
No, I know. I don't either. And also, I don't even want to go to most male doctor. I would prefer to go to a woman for all of this. And like, if you're a hot woman, wonderful. If you're not a not so hot woman, also wonderful. But for me, it's mostly about men. So if I had to go to a male therapist, I would not want it to be a hot man.
Yeah, because then I might find myself lying.
Exactly.
Because with therapy, it's different, because you can't win. You can't win. You have to once you have told everything, then it's over. Like, then you're not striving for more. So I wouldn't have a male therapist to begin with, but yeah, I would say for therapy, then it would be a no for me.
Yeah, because for me, that's where I would lie. And for a doctor, like if it was just like my PCP or something that's like very kind of like standard or regular, and I don't want to say like, not that my PCP is listening, you're a very handsome man. I just also know you're gay. So like that is way easier for me. But there's like a level of, I don't want to get giddy and then forget what I was actually trying to say. Cause you're like, oh, if I'm sick, imagine, then you're like, you have a really hot doctor and you're like, this is okay. No, I'm totally fine. Like I feel totally fine. And this is how I knew I was really fucking sick when I went to the ER, because that I thought he was a phlebotomist. I don't know. He was a nurse, phlebotomist, something. He was giving me my vitals. That man looked like if Morris Chestnut deadlifted and bench pressed another 7 more. He was gorgeous and like huge and jacked. And I was so ill that I couldn't be shy. I couldn't do anything. And Mats looked at me as soon as he walked away. He goes, "Damn, you are sick." I was like, I know. Like, and Mats like, that man is beautiful. And like, you didn't even flinch. And I was like, I don't feel good. I was so ill. But yeah, he did it. He helped with the fluids. And then that's why I said it. I was making the joke. But yeah, like it's just so crazy. And I did see people commenting on that, like, oh my God, I feel this, Dr. Mike. I'd be fine. And that's the part that's like, why? Because for me, like, I can walk into a room immediately and know if this person knows that they're attractive. And then like, also the scale, it's like the scale of like confidence of knowledge versus how much you actually know and like your confidence in it. it's like the guys who think they're so hot, you're just barely cracking the top 5 frats. Like you are not runway being like you are not gorgeous. You're just like, your acne might have cleared up in high school a little bit earlier than the other guys. So like the ego completely outweighs like the attractiveness. So that's how I feel about Dr. Mike.
And with doctors, there has to be a level of trust. And I don't trust Dr. Mike. Like something about him I just don't trust.
Well, also, I find most male doctors, regardless of attractiveness level, fucking suck. And they're like so dismissive of women. And they're just so like, oh, anxiety, whatever that is. Like I have been disrespected by ugly doctors, by hot doctors, whatever that is. So like I'm trepidatious when it comes to like already the fucking ego of a doctor. Already the ego of a man and then the ego of a doctor. And then you throw in a man who is the baseline like a 7. Screwed. You're usually screwed. And that to me is Dr. Mike, where it's just like, ugh. So I thought that was a wonderful and hilarious hot take. And I love it because I also I would be curious if anyone who, specifically women who date other women, if you would feel uncomfortable with like a gorgeous hot woman, because I think of like when I was like a little kid and had a babysitter, I like literally wanted this girl to babysit me who went to I think she went to like the high school or the middle school near me or whatever. And she was so pretty. And I was like, I want her to babysit me. Cause like she was so pretty and I was just like obsessed with her and I like wanted to be her. And like, so I don't find that, but if there was like a cute boy, I would get really shy. And I know that that's like being attractive. But if I had a woman doctor who like had her shit together, the way I would be like, I'll do anything you fucking say because like I respect you so deeply. And I wonder if that's like because it's woman to woman, like I respect women more than men, or if it's because I'm not sexually attracted to you.
Well, I'd like to take this time to cue this up because Coco has been joking about how she would like to have Coco's Corner for the show. And this is your time, Coco. Let us know. Give us your feedback.
And you either have to introduce why you have Coco's Corner or we do. Otherwise, people are like, why does Coco have a corner? The Coco's lesbian corner, is that what we would call it? Coco's
I just said Coco's Corner, but
I'm saying the context for this specifically.
Oh, yes. The context is what I just said, or what Meghan just said.
And if you guys remember Coco's name, Coco, that was the miscommunication of thinking that Melissa had a crazy ex-girlfriend because Melissa was talking about the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And it's still one of my favorite fucking moments. I like could cry thinking about it. It's so funny.
All right. Well, let's take a break. And when we get back, we'll get into But Are You Wrong?
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to see you next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the magical millennial.
And I'm the dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
right, we are back and it's time for But Are You Wrong? That's when y'all write in with your predicaments that you may have been wrong about, and then we will read it, judge it, and let you know our thoughts.
You can submit these to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. We ask that you keep them under 300 words. You have to be 18 or over or have your parents' permission, but we really want to know your age. So tell us how old you are. Give us all of the details of this, and it is all anonymous. So some pseudonyms, some fake names, and give us all the details so we can rule with our sparkly gavel. Rochambeau.
If you want to know why I did that, if you're watching the Patreon, tune in on, I don't know. I don't remember if it was in Don't Blame Me.
Melissa,
it might
don't
not
do this
be.
to yourself. You didn't take your brain. You didn't take the
You're
focus
right.
gummies. This is, everyone cut us some slack.
Also, back on the Focus Gummies, if you go to CVS, they're like $30. If you order it on the website, it's $12. What is this inflation?
Bitch, I spent $30.
Yeah.
Ollie, by the way, Ollie, we would love for you to sponsor this.
So much. I'll let
Huge
Rome know.
fans.
All right. Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I'm a longtime listener, first-time writer, and my But Am I Wrong is about a situation that happened at work. Little bit about me. I'm a gay woman who lives in a southern state and works in a male-dominated workplace. Last week, a coworker was working on something near me, and I was playing music over a speaker, and he asked who I was listening to. It was Miss Taylor Swift, but I told him, and then out of nowhere, he asked me if I go to church. I don't, but have in the past, so I told him that. And then he went into detail about getting back in the routine of going, and then gave me his whole testimony and invited me to go to his church. This made me feel weird, but I let it go. Today, this man was fixing something I was working on and asked about my weekend, and I told him we went to a book warehouse where everything was 70% off. And then he asked if I read, and I said, no, but my wife does. And he looked at me shocked and said, wife? And I said, yeah. And then he dropped the conversation and started talking about work. I know I'm not wrong in my feelings, but is it wrong of me not to talk to him ever again? I feel weird and not unsafe, but not comfortable in my workplace. Thank you so much. I mean, this dude seems weird. If you don't have to talk to him about your job, I don't think there's anything wrong with, not talking to him. Also, bringing this up at work is wild. It's one thing like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I went to church. Cool. But if you were like, oh, I'm interested in going to church, then that would continue the conversation. But if you have no interest in going, if you've already told him that, he also clearly is homophobic, like, there's no reason for you to talk to this man ever.
No. Also, you could report him to HR for this. Selfishly, I am curious what Taylor Swift song you were listening to, mostly because I don't know if you know, caller, writer, in that God, what song is it? There were two songs, one from Midnights and one from Tortured Poets Department, where she makes like allegories about like religion in like a, songwriting kind of sense. Like one of being like, they'll nail me to a what stake? That's
cross.
Yeah, like, but that's the imagery that she's talking about. Like they'll burn me at the something, not
burn me
witches.
at the stake, but that's not. Yeah,
it's not that. But it's something. It's something like that. And then another one is, or like, I'm the only one that's holy. I'm trying to remember because, like, to me, the religious lyrics, they don't go over my head, but like they don't stick out to me as like specifically religious until I look into them because I wasn't raised that way, so I don't know the terminology as well. But there were two instances, and for a lot of people with the Tortured Poets Department, when that came out, people who were even on the fence after the first one of the songs on Midnights, that they were like, oh, this feels a little blasphemous. They really, really got pissed off at the other one. And like people all over TikTok were like, I'm not listening to this anymore. I'm not letting my children. And I am curious if like he heard the song that you were listening to, because again, it went very viral, but it was like on Fox, people were talking about it everywhere. If he like specifically
missed it.
Well, if he specifically was doing that because of what you were listening to, like the same way that he would have if maybe he's not like this in the loop, because this definitely not as big on like a Fox News kind of thing, because the right is very mad at Taylor Swift because she came out and said, hey, by the way, I'm actually not your neo-Nazi Barbie. I'm like not a white supremacist. And they said, what? This is shocking.
But also she endorsed Biden before. I just don't understand where the surprise was coming from.
They were shocked. They were abundantly shocked. They must have missed the cookies that she made before. They must have missed the link that she said to sign up when she was so adamant about the local elections in Tennessee, about the woman who was running. And, you know, they missed all that. So it's definitely more, she's definitely more of a hot button topic than like Chappell Roan, because like Chappell Roan the right doesn't feel deceived by her whatsoever. But I was going to say, it'd be similar like if you were listening to like Lady Gaga, like something that is like associated from conservatives as like, oh, this is turning the kids gay. This is the devil's music. So yeah, I would love to know if that's what the song was or which song it was. But yeah, you're not wrong whatsoever if you like not only not talk to him ever again, but if you also decide like you want to report him to HR, or even just doesn't have to report him, just let HR know. Be like, hey, just like want to give you a heads up, like I've been unless you work at a Christian organization or a religious organization, because like this shit's fine then. Not for us, but like for them. But like saying like, hey, is there any chance like we could like try and create a buffer between this guy? Like I don't really love him. Like he has been kind of like
feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, like it's been, and if they follow it up, be like, there's just been some like be vague. Like there's just been some religious stuff, and like I've like felt some judgment about my sexual orientation in my relationship, and like, you know, I don't want to be, I just would like to just not. And I promise you HR does not want to have like a huge fucking case on their hands, and they will just remove, because the worst thing that can happen is like he continues to do this and you get more and more uncomfortable, as naturally you would, and then it just becomes a huge thing. And also he probably does this to other people too.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the bandwidth to report him, you don't have to either. You could just ignore him. Watch him go to HR and be like, I'm mad at her because she won't come to church with me. And like, she's been kind of rude. And it's like, okay, yeah, well, this man's homophobic. And they're like, oh, sir, why are you telling us this? You're the instigator of all of it. You're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Hey, Meghan and Melissa, I need to know if I'm wrong for leaving my best friend and her boyfriend out of my couple's vacation. So for some context, my best friend and her boyfriend have been together about 6 months. I'm going on this vacation with my sister, her husband, my cousin, her husband, as well as myself and my fiance. Okay, sister's husband, cousin's husband, your fiance. My best friend grew up with all of us, and so she's like family, and it wouldn't be out of the norm for her to come. The problem is one of the other couples said that she shouldn't be invited, and their reasons are valid. Number one, they've been together 6 months. That's actually a really long relationship for her. Subtle shade. 2, there was an incident with the last vacation we took together. The summer we rented a cabin only about 45 minutes from where we live and did a girls trip. My cousin, sister, and bestie. Well, my best friend, quote unquote, left her wallet, and we wound up having to fund her whole trip. Her Venmo also happened to be down at the time as well. We didn't get much service, so her Apple Pay wasn't working. So many excuses. To this day, I haven't been paid back. My sister and my sister and cousin were paid back months later. Oh my God. They were paid back months later. You still have never been paid back. I'm in complete agreement with them. Imagine something like that happening on this vacation that's in another country. I couldn't afford to take care of her and her boyfriend. So I'm wondering if I'm wrong for not inviting her at all. No, I'm so shocked you're still friends.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we had a write-in last episode where somebody was laid off from their job and they had a trip coming up and knew that their friends would cover if they said that. And they were, you know, a little ashamed about that. But this one is someone that didn't give a heads up that they didn't have the money to pay. They still haven't paid you back. And then if they can't pay you back for the last trip, then how are they going to pay for the new trip?
The way I'd be mad if they pulled their wallet out to pay for something on that trip and I go, well, you're out. Give me my fucking money.
Right.
Like if I see someone who owes me money, I don't know, on a fucking yacht, like, and I'm like, bitch, you owe me money. What do you mean you bought new Gucci shoes? Like, what do you mean? Like, that's wild. So yeah, I mean, I would leave out, this is me giving you unsolicited advice, leave out the first part about they've only been together 6 months. That is so fucking irrelevant. So irrelevant how long they've been together. Also the subtle shade about, which is really long for her. I'm like, ooh, ouch. The whole thing is that like, no, you didn't pay us back. And like, you still haven't paid me back. And so I think if you still like this person and you like still want to maintain a friendship and like, it's worth it to you to be like, oh, like, yeah, we're planning this trip, but just don't invite her. And then if she finds out and just be like, oh, sorry, I just, you haven't paid me back for that part of the trip. So like, I didn't think you had the finances, obviously, for this. I didn't want to put you in a bad spot. And if she's like, no, I have the finances. And then be like, okay, so then pay me, like when she pays you back, awesome, tack on some interest. But then also, if she ever tried to pull that again, you just don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watch Inventing Anna and like, don't be Rachel. Like, that's the whole thing. There is no way that you should be putting your neck out for someone after they have completely wronged you like that before. Because like one time, totally. And like, depends on how much it's for. But like when the circumstances like make sense and it's like, oh shit, can you spot me? Mm-hmm. And then that they're good for it. They pay you back immediately and all of that. But like the level of disrespect for this, that like, when I say that there's no way that this situation would happen again, it's not because I don't think she would try. It's just that like you would be like, no, I'm not paying. Like, no, like everything should be paid. This group joint effort should be paid ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then when you go to restaurants, you all get separate bills.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's a lot of work. And I can't be friends with someone I like don't trust like that. And like, I don't like being friends with people who stress me out. And like that would really stress me out. So like I couldn't do that, let alone travel with them.
Yeah, and you're stressed out so much right now, and it's not even the trip yet. And the other people don't want her there, so the vibes will be off anyway.
Yeah. I just don't even think you have to tell her, because then she'll make it about her.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't invite someone, then they're like, oh my God, like, why wouldn't you invite me? They become like the center of the universe. But if you tell them you're not inviting them, then it's kind of validating that like you are the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just plan your trip and go.
Yeah, and have fun.
All right. Well, we're going to take another break, and when we get back, we'll get into But Are They Wrong?
People often look at me with confusion when I ask them what their only one in the room story is. They think it has to be like mine, where I went to a 600-person event and discovered that I was the only Black person there. I know. Horrifying, right? Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us for an hour and lose yourself in someone's only one story. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone.
Bitches on Comics is a bi-monthly interview podcast where we talk to the coolest LGBTQ plus folks and women in comics and pop culture.
Our unique perspectives and welcoming nature have earned us the honor of being named a best comic book podcast by Book Riot, Screen Rant, The Mary Sue, Comic Book Herald, and Comic Book Couples Counseling.
Bitches on Comics is hosted by moi, Monica Estrella Negra, filmmaker, writer, and co-founder of Audrey's Revenge Film.
And me, Essie Fleenor, comic and pop culture nerd and culture critic with writing in The Independent, Vice, Electric Literature, Star Trek, and so much more.
We're also both voting members of Gallica, the Society of LGBTQ plus Entertainment Critics.
Join Bitches on Comics for in-depth, hilarious, and heartfelt conversations with the likes of Stephanie Williams, Leah Anderson, and the late, great Rachel Pollack.
Listen to Bitches on Comics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or tune in at bitchesoncomics.com. New episodes every other Wednesday.
I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
We're the Ghost Story Guys.
And every 2 weeks, we explore first-person stories of encounters with the paranormal from all around the world.
Then we have some fun reacting to those stories. We like to say our goal is to scare the hell out of you, then make you laugh.
Belief in the paranormal is not required. All you need is a love of great storytelling and curiosity about the world around you.
Come find the Ghost Story Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts live, or at ghoststoryguys.com.
is time for But Are They Wrong? This is our final segment where we nominate a person, place, or thing, something current events, pop culture that we think deserves the worst of the week nomination. Before Melissa gets into it, I want to say that we said this offline, that we are chock full of options to talk about this week. And anytime that happens, I want people to know that, like, we talk about how, like, worst of the week ranking wise. It's a hard week to kind of rank, and we don't want to always talk about something that's so heavily discussed online already that you already know how we'd feel about, like TMZ, Madeline Pendleton, like all of those kinds of things. So we don't not know those things are happening, but I think you know how we feel.
Yeah. We cover stuff that's like pop culture or just obscure things. So
yeah,
we've got there's a lot of terrible people in the world. So there's a lot to cover. Sometimes, and it's miraculous when we match up because there's so much bad news.
No, it's so crazy. And specifically when we matched up last week with something like absolutely like so out there, or not last week, week before. So out there and so niche. And we also don't want you to have to, like, every time you listen to a podcast, they're talking about all the same things. So that's all. That's our disclaimer.
All right. So I'm up first, and I would like to nominate conspiracy theorists that think that meteorologists have something to do with the weather.
I thought you were going to say Beyonce's internet. Okay. Continue. There is an overlap of those people.
Yes, there is an overlap.
I can't. I know. I can't.
I keep trying to forget about it.
I know.
And I just think it's the dumbest thing ever.
Also, it's like, what a backhanded compliment that I'm like, so you agree? You think she's the most talented person? Like, it's just one of those things. I'm like,
she has that much power over people that they're like, all just bowing down to thank her.
But then they also say they hate her. I go, or do you think that she's your queen? Like, this is it's so fucking crazy to be like, it's like they try everything in their power to hate Beyonce, but like even deep down in their soul, they like can't actually hate her. They can only like fear her and her power. And I'm like, okay, so you love her. Like, just be normal.
Yeah. So, meteorologists are facing increasing harassment because conspiracy theorists think that they're in charge of the hurricane. So there's been a lot of talk and sparked controversy online directed at meteorologists. They're suggesting also that the government can control the weather. And this has led to threats of harassment, including death threats to a lot of meteorologists. Meteorologists are being targeted for both promoting and debunking these conspiracy theories. Their role is providing life-saving information and explaining climate science has made them vulnerable to harassment. The abuse can have serious consequences, including eroding trust in their warnings and taking a personal toll on them. A lot of other emergency workers have also been targeted with false claims and threats hindering relief efforts. The abuse has been attributed to Donald Trump.
Oh.
And the same people, they don't believe in climate change, but then think that people have the power to control the weather. Like we're fucking Storm from the X-Men controlling the weather.
No, they think it's Benjamin Franklin out there with a coat hanger.
Not a coat hanger's a kite.
No, I know, but coat hanger, metal.
To conduct.
They don't know it. They're confused.
Yeah. So Kate Nicolai, who is a forecaster in Michigan, said, "Murdering meteorologists won't stop hurricanes. I can't believe I just typed that." The director of the University of Georgia's Atmospheric Science program and former president of American Meteorology Society, Marshall Shepard, said, "We're all talking about how much more it's ramped up." There's also been a lot of scrutiny, backlash, back and forth, everything with the political climate, also second guessing of weather experts. So let's just support the scientists, and I say scientists who are letting people know, and it's not like they were wrong, letting people know what's going on and how do you think that, if you think that the government was able to change the weather, don't you think they'd be a little bit more pointed by where they're putting things?
You'd think. And also, like, who was in office when Hurricane Katrina came? Like, there have been natural disasters under Democratic administration as well as Republican administration. And also, you're going to call that man Sleepy Joe and you're going to tell me that that man has the puppet strings for the storm clouds?
No, but they're saying that Kamala was the one that did it. But
of course,
also,
at the same time when they said
she has no power. Which one is it? She has no power or she's controlling the weather?
Like when we say like, oh, she has so much, she's got great experience for this. They go, she can't do anything except break a Senate tie. And I go, but I thought she was controlling the weather.
Right. Which one is it?
Again, I implore all those people to watch Veep because even politicians have stated it's quite similar. So, yeah, I saw a great quote, and I might butcher it. So I wrote down the two versions of that I remember that someone had said, had left a comment on someone who's like spiraling about this same thing online, saying everything is scary when you don't know anything, and like, or anything scary when you don't understand anything. Like, of course, this feels like so fucking scary. And so like, how could this be real or whatever? And I think a lot of people, one of the most dangerous things I think Donald Trump ever did was to never speak to like a political audience, but speaking to like everyday Americans, and then not even changing that in terms of like when we need to hear about political things, where there's certain like a level of expertise that when someone's talking about it, there's not a way for me to understand at the level that they're at. Like for me, if like two presidents are talking about some specific foreign policy, I'm not going to be able to hop in and they're going to explain it to me like I'm in kindergarten because I don't want them to. I need them to be so much more knowledgeable on this that it is out of the scope of what I understand. Like I have to start at a Miss Rachel level of understanding of this. And that's like his whole thing is that like he breaks things down in such easy ways. I'm like, he's not saying anything. He doesn't have the expertise or the knowledge to speak on these high level issues or high intelligence matters or like high knowledge things. He doesn't have that. So it never happens. And therefore, as soon as people start talking like that, that automatically is out because it's invalid. And it's just like so scary. The same way that like people who are like drinking raw milk and they're not listening to doctors and like, I'm smarter than that. And I'm like, do you want to be smarter than the person giving open heart surgery? Do you want to give your kid open heart surgery? Like it just makes the picking and choosing of when you want an expert in their field and when you trust their opinion and when you need them and you value them. It's like so fucking inconsistent and backwards.
Yeah.
Makes me mad. So yeah, I agree. Not wrong. Fuck those people. Horrible. So mine has to do with, well, you know, they've started to try and reclaim the term or the word of voter suppression because they think that with the Dems we're controlling the weather so we can eradicate the red states and therefore everything can go blue. It's a big question. So mine is also about the actual voter suppression. So I was on Reddit like 3 days ago, and on the Los Angeles subreddit, someone posted this photo and posed this question. And immediately what I noticed was like how many interactions it has. And I don't know if anybody else is in like their city's subreddits, but like there are people posting there all the time. And you don't get as many things that blow up. Like it's not like an am I the asshole kind of thing. Like there tends to be like tons of posts, a few replies, and a lot with zero. Nothing really blows up. But this had like 4,000 upvotes. It had like hundreds of replies. And someone posted saying, did anyone else receive one of these? I found it. Sorry. Did anyone else receive one of these? I found it in my mailbox. It has no instructions, but is shaped perfectly to fit a ballot. I think someone is trying to trick people into mailing their ballot somewhere. And it is a envelope. And if you're on the Patreon, you can see what it looks like. It is a envelope that does perfectly fit a ballot, which a ballot is also, I would say, like a specific shape. And it says peel and seal secure pouch. It has an eagle on it and it has 3 red stripes and stars. It's very red, white, and blue. It almost looks like USPS, well, patriotic, but like USPS themed colors and like a patriotic version of that looks like it could be what they're sending. And immediately people are like, what neighborhood were you in? How'd you receive this? You need to report all of this as voter fraud. And they're located in Tarzana. And they said, I don't think any of this, and this says alert your local post office and the postal inspector. And they said, I don't think this has to do with the post office. My address is not on it. That means someone put it into my mailbox, which is illegal x2 times 2. And then it was revealed. Well, then someone commented, this looks like fucking election tampering, if you ask me. And again, like California, specifically like LA County, like has been blue for like no one really worries about us. And that's why people will be assholes and publicly be proud about talking about throwing away their vote as if this is like this huge act of resistance when they know that it's because other people have their ass covered. That is how blue California is. Then the P.O. box and the little fine print we can finally see about the return to sender, the return to address it's mailed to, it goes to the Presidential Coalition, which is former Trump's deputy campaign manager, David Bossi's organization, which was in the news for spending 8% of the funds raised for political activity, with the remainder going to his salary and the purchase of his books. So they are also a conservative organization that they're in cahoots with Citizens United. The Citizens United is a mission to restore the United States government to citizens' control through a combination of education, advocacy, and grassroots organizations seeking to reassert traditional American values of limited government, freedom of enterprise, strong families, and national sovereignty and security. They are a conservative political advocacy group, and they specifically do, web advertisements, commercials, books, and also films where they make, those fear-mongering horrible movies. So The Truth Revealed, a confidential report, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, and the Communist Chinese Connection, a film from 1999. They've 25 documentaries. This is only some of them. Celsius 4111, which is a play on Fahrenheit 451. Border War, the battle over illegal immigration. Hillary, the movie from 2008. Rediscovering God in America. Fire from the Heartland, the awakening of the conservative woman. Generation Zero, 9 Days That Changed the World. Occupy Unmasked. And they are sending out these fucking, not even sending out, they're putting them in mailboxes. And basically the most obvious level of voter suppression I've seen in California, like in my life. What a desperate attempt to do anything to change or swing whatever of that. I don't think there's any way it would be swinging anything in the presidential election, but I think without a doubt in our local election. And it is just fucking crazy. So I would just advise like everybody, I don't know if this is happening like anywhere else. I would say that like if you're in a red state, definitely look out for it. But like blue state, you might think that this is very privileged. I don't worry about voter suppression in my vote. I'm pretty confident in that happening. But this was something that totally threw me. So if you've also lived in a blue state your whole life, you're in a blue state, and voter suppression and voter fraud is not something that has been a discussion or a worry within your community and your county and your town about your like local elections or anything like that, please be wary of this and know that the only place you should be mailing your ballot back is with what you have. You should not be receiving anything additionally. And the same thing if you're like dropping it off at a bin and someone's like, here, I can take that. I can do that for you. Nope, do not. You do everything. You drop it in there. You always. And even if you are, and I hope you're listening to this like alone, but if you are in a relationship or you're with a family member that you know does not align with your views politically and doesn't want you to vote, or you don't feel confident in casting that vote when they are around, please don't trust anyone else to drop off your ballot or do anything like that.
Or if you get automatic ballots mailed to you and you're with somebody that you don't trust, make sure that you get your ballot. Even if you vote in person, make sure that you shred the old ballot so they don't do anything to do any voter fraud.
Yeah. I saw a uplifting great post though, about a woman who is voting for the first time this year because her husband finally died and he wouldn't let her vote.
Oh my gosh. And
I'm like, and this is why you outlived him. Mm-hmm. Fuck that man. So terrifying. Also so blatant.
All right. Well, that fucking sucks. I actually hadn't even heard about it. I hope they get prosecuted for that. And I hope more people have seen it so that they know, because like I mentioned, California, we automatically get our ballots sent to us, regardless if you're voting in person or not. And so I could see a lot of people thinking that this is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, because we don't have to opt in. And so the same way that our ballots just show up, this just shows up, and it can feel like that. And a lot of time, if it doesn't have your name, even if it just has residence there, no, they can't track that back. Like, it's just bad. Like, it's just, it's so bad. And thankfully, the person who received this, from what I've seen, like, everyone is sending places for them to report it to. And I've been up for like 3 days. They've, even as early as like a couple hours ago, someone else had another one and they said, cool, just called them, reported it. So like, they're really on it, and the subreddit is keeping it pinned. Yeah, I'll even include I'll send you the link so we can include it in the show notes. So if anybody's curious what it specifically looks like if you're not on the Patreon, just so you can be aware of it. Because yeah, it's really fucking scary. I feel like this is going to, like, I definitely bet it's in Orange County too. You know?
Yeah.
A more conservative area. Should we wrap up, or should I ask you your thoughts on Cynthia Erivo on the Wicked poster? Okay, we hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to check your voter registration status. Make sure you can register to vote and vote in your local election. There's lots of great content I've been seeing on TikTok as well of people going over local ballot measures, which is super helpful because there's been a lot of misleading stuff recently. So vote. Also vote for this episode. You know, we'll level with you. The presidential election is more important than this. It's the only thing.
Way more important.
Yeah. And it's the only thing more important. Everything else, we're more important. That? No, you know, that's big because we're actually admitting that something is important, more important than us. That. And if you're a Republican, don't forget Donald Trump said to vote on January 6th. And
he did say that.
He did.
That is a fact.
That's what your daddy said. Listen to your daddy, babe. Don't forget to vote for next week. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode where we hang out, catch up, chit chat, our Fisting Friday. And we've got a whole docket of all our regular episodes coming out next week.
All right. We will circle back.
Bye.
Goodbye.
This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMont, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.